I literally, for the life of me, can't figure out how this works. So, it's been a while. Let's address the elephant in the room. Apparently, coming back to my late video, apparently Dune has been nominated for 10 Oscars. I don't know how to feel about this. They're trying so hard to make you believe that this is the new Lord of the Rings. Everyone's trying to be Lord of the Rings. You're not Lord of the Rings. You'll never be Lord of the Rings. But anyway, I mean, to be honest, does anyone take the Oscars seriously? Me personally, I haven't taken the Oscars seriously ever since La La Land almost won Best Picture. I love how I literally haven't posted in months, and my first video back I'm already like making enemies, daring people to hate on me for hating stuff that they love, but I mean...
It is one of the most unpleasant movies I've ever seen, and I hated most of it. I guess I have to vote thumbs down, but at the same time with a footnote that I admire what he did, and I hate it.
I've waited so long to film this video. I'm not sure that people even still care. But then again, people have been subscribing to me more. So like, what do you want from me, guys? Is this what you want? Is this really what you want? More of me? Anyway, let's just get into it, you know? So, like I said, I read the first Dune book. I finally got my hands on it. I literally read this months ago, so bear with me if I don't remember everything that happened. But I do have my notes here to help me out. And let's talk about it. I feel like I also have to address some stuff that has been said in the comments, and in general people have been pretty nice. Which I wasn't expecting. As always, people are always a lot nicer than I expect for some reason. So thank you. I do have to say, now that I've read the book, there are some things that I have maybe changed my mind on, but generally not really, in terms of like my opinion about the latest movie. I still stick to my guns. I still think it's a little lacking in terms of what I read in the book. So let's just start out by saying I actually really enjoyed this book. I was kind of scared going into it because it's, first of all, sci-fi, which is not like my type of genre in general. It's not something that I gravitate towards necessarily. But I was pleasantly surprised by how much I was enjoying it. Up until the end. But we'll get into that. The first thing that I was really surprised by was how character-driven this book is. Because like I said, I was going into this, I was like, oh, it's going to be sci-fi, there's going to be a lot of information thrown at me, a lot of details, a lot of plot. Just something I'm kind of like always a little scared of, but it was very character driven. I do have to say, the recent movie adaptation, with all its flaws according to me, it is a pretty faithful adaptation. It's just that I don't know how well this worked as a movie. I still stand by my opinion that it would have worked better as a series, even as a mini-series. I think they would have had a lot more time, because this is such a character-driven story. They would have had a lot more time to get into the characters, to explore everything about them and this world and this story. So I think that's maybe why I was a little disappointed. So, talking about the characters, I felt that it was very interesting the way that the story followed, obviously, the three main characters, which were the Duke, Paul, and Jessica. immediately I thought it was very differently done in the movie and in the book, because in the movie the Duke doesn't really do so much, to be honest. He doesn't really seem like a real character. He's more like, you know, the dad of Paul. Paul is like the official main character, and his mom gets more of a role, more of an active role later on, but the Duke, for all his time in the movie, doesn't really feel as a fleshed out character as much as just like the dad or like the leader figure in the story, and we don't really get to know him a lot. And that was again one of my complaints when I talked about the movie, that when by the way, spoilers for everything that happens in the book and the movie, because the movie also is more like a part one of the book. Obviously it's called part one, so I'm also going to be talking about the rest of the book. So anyway, when the Duke eventually dies, it's like, personally, you don't feel that much for him because we don't really get to know him. It's kind of like in The Lion King, when you know that the dad is going to die. I mean, you don't really know that at the beginning, I guess, but now you kind of have a feeling that, oh, this important father figure is probably going to die so that Paul can like be the main character from now on. It's like Hamlet all over again, you know. We are kind of familiar with this story, but again, what the book does well is get to know the Duke and follow him and his thoughts and his life, and that makes it a lot more interesting and engaging. I felt like in the book it was very much this triangle of people that we follow along, and they are all equally the main character. That is until then the Duke dies, but very much for a very long part of the story, it's this triangle that we're following, and it's all equally interesting. They're all part of this greater main story. There are some things that are explained more in the book. There are some things that are not so much explained. Is that a sentence? Am I like... Bear with me here. Dr. Yue, his entire betrayal, which was also a complaint of mine in the movie, it's much more clear in the book. It's much more clear. He's on a revenge path. He has no... As like I read it, he has no intent of saving his wife or anything, because he knows she's already lost. He knows that she's gone, which is like obviously the smart thing to assume, which I was also assuming when I watched the movie. But then in the movie they made it seem like he was doing it because he still thought he had a chance to save her. Yeah, in the book it's much more clear that he is just on a revenge path. He wants to kill the villain. He has no intention of like believing him or anything he says. So I think that was better done in the book. That was a lot better done in the book. Am I making any sense here? I guess he's just like your standard wanna take over the world type of villain. Maybe we will learn more in the next couple of books. I don't know. But at this point, in the book I still didn't see his motivation. He was still like a mustache twirling evil man with some weird quirks. What was all that about eating young boys? Let's not even get into it. But yeah, something else that I was wondering about is I've heard a lot of people, when they talk about this book series, they believe that it's unfilmable. I think this might have been the case like years ago when this book first came out. That's what they mean, that it's such a like big epic story that was, with the special effects at the time or something, it wouldn't have been possible to film, I guess. I assume that's what people are talking about. Me personally, I feel like this is a very hard book series to film, for one reason only, and it's an entirely different reason, I think, than most people would assume. This book is all thoughts of the characters. And you might be like, well, yeah, that's like every book, Jania. But like in this one, it's really particular. That's why I say it's a combination of being a very character-driven story and having everything that is told to us, everything that is shown to us is told through thoughts of the characters. So we follow these characters and they don't say much most of the time. That's the whole gist of these people on this planet. They don't talk a lot, they don't explain their intentions, they don't say what they mean, but we all read it in their thoughts, and that's very interesting. That makes it fascinating almost. It's almost like this game of wits. It's almost like they're all playing chess with each other all the time. You don't know what they're... Well, we know what they're thinking, but the characters don't know what the others are thinking or what they necessarily mean when they say something, because... And that works well in book form. I think that's something that is very hard to translate to like a movie medium, even a series maybe. It depends on how you do it, because you can't have voiceovers all the time. But how else are you going to explain? Because that was also kind of my issue with the movie. I felt like not only didn't I really get a lot of the motivation of the characters, but also they weren't saying that much, to be honest, but we never got their most inner thoughts or like how they felt about things, or why they were specifically saying one thing and then maybe planning something else was happening. We didn't get a lot of background stuff, because that's also what you get with these thoughts. They explain to you like, oh, this was from this time and this is what happened then, and everything has meaning, everything has like a little nuance. Every time someone says something, they are thinking about like that's the thing that kind of is just difficult, I think, to translate from a book form. I think it works really well as a book. So maybe that's also why I had a bit of... I felt like the movie was a bit dry for me. I didn't really get everything that I wanted out of it, if you get what I'm saying. Maybe that's where it kind of lost me, to be honest. Something else that I really liked was the Bene Gesserit training, however you pronounce that. I liked the theme of fear. I found it, and in the movie they did this also. That was one of the things that I really liked, this theme of fear. Everything they say about it, everything relating to that, because which was also a good thing that they did in the movie, we very early on start off with the most interesting scene, which is the kind of the scene with the witch, the trial that Paul has to go through, and it's all about fear. It's all about his mom fearing what's happening to him. It's all about him not knowing what is going to happen or what is happening with him. Like very fascinating, and the book also starts off with that, which is like already a bang. You're immediately invested. It's like a great scene. So I like that. I also like the kind of stoicism that maybe has to do with the Bene Gesserit training. Like, I feel like they take a lot of it from stoicism, or like some of it reminded me of that. The way they handle their emotions, that's also very interesting. Especially Jessica, I think her character is extremely fascinating. I would love to know more about her background, everything that happened beforehand, her relationship with the Duke, and the way she uses her training to almost survive in these like extreme situations, or even in just like regular when they are just talking. I feel like Jessica is always holding back her emotions because she has to be careful about what she says and stuff, and that's also very interesting to follow in the book. So I love that. Where the book lost me, you might already guess, the time skip. what happened? To be honest, like I have to think back on it because it's been a couple months, but the time skip was so odd to me. It was everything that happens, it's just all of a sudden like, oh, Paul is like a grown-up and he has children and he's married, and then there's like this random big battle or something, the villain dies. It's very rushed, it's very out of nowhere kind of, and I assume that's just because like the following books are going to be about a lot more than just that, so they kind of had to wrap this story up, I guess, to continue with whatever is going to go on, which I don't know. Should I read? Should I give the other books a try? I am kind of curious, to be honest. I have some assumptions of where it's going to go, but I don't know. But yeah, the time skip, that really weird anticlimactic ending. What happened? And like this random battle, and then also like the villain dies and no one really cares, and it's like, it was kind of odd, to be honest. It was almost like someone forced Frank Herbert to write this battle at the end that came out of nowhere, and they were like, it's not exciting enough, just add this battle in there for some reason. And I would love to know more if anyone knows. I don't know, or maybe this is just how it's supposed to go. I was a little confused, to be honest. So I guess my only predictions for the upcoming books, if I decide to indulge in those, are, I think Paul might become a villain. I think that's maybe where the story is going, because Paul in the book is also a bit of a darker character. I mean, he is a teenage boy, so some emo angst is necessary, I guess, but he felt like he was a lot more stoic, more, I don't know, there was something about him, you know? And then towards the end, I feel like he's going on maybe that dark path or something, and that's also why we got rid of this, like, moral villain, and maybe Paul will be the new villain? I don't know. No spoilers, but let me know if I should read the other books in the series. I think those might be my thoughts on Dune. Thank you for watching if you've stayed with me, and let me know if you have any other ideas on what I should sit down and talk about. Okay, thanks guys, and I'll see you later.